There were 8 eggs, and 7 of them were hatched. They have orders. The babies were born yesterday afternoon. And after development, they will be more active and healthier. And for this period, these baby swans will stay within the mother swan's belly. The mother swan is taking care of them. And this is the real-time video. And we can see the mute swan on the water is a carp, the male swan. The whole hatching period is finished by the female swan itself, but the carp, the father swan, will patrol around and fight against the enemies or the intruders. We are doing today's live broadcasting with the satellite vehicle, so we can use the long-range camera, and our viewers can watch more details. So, dear viewers, if you are just entering, if you are just joining us, we are now live broadcasting on CGTN and CNN Weibo, and we are now in Inner Mongolia at the Wuliangsu Lake. In the past, we came here and we were waiting for the birth of the baby swans. Just at May the 20th, the special day of love, they were hatched. So after hatching, what tasks are waiting for these baby swans? We've got the expert here, dear professor. Yesterday, we sent a notice to you and about the birth of the baby swans and what's waiting for them next. The baby mute swans are very small. They have feathers and they can open their eyes. They can move immediately after birth, but they are not fully adapted to the world, because they just broke the shell. The body is very soft, and now they are not good at sports. And the temperature also needs to be improved. So it takes 1 to 2 days, like 48 hours, they will follow their mother and swim in the water. If the temperature allows. But if the temperature is not good, their swimming time, first swimming time may be put off. And now they are staying under the belly of the mother swan, and they sometimes may take easy exercises, and they will communicate with their mother. Once they can swim on the water, they will follow the mother swan. Mute swans don't feed their babies. They just guide their babies and help teach them how to search for food and fight against and prevent from the intruders. The babies will learn this from their mother. So the study mission is waiting for them. I have another question. Once the baby swan was born, have you tested the temperature? The temperature of the birds are higher than the mammals. but we didn't test the babies. In the past, we did monitoring for 3 consecutive years. Most of the birds, when they are eggs, they gradually broke the shell and their weight will be reduced. As we can see, the weather for today is not very nice. Maybe it's going to rain and it's very windy. So, under this situation, and we've noticed one detail, we saw there is only one mute swan is swimming. Will this low temperature affect the baby swans? The capability of the baby swans are limited. Their first swimming time will be sunny day and after 10 o'clock in the morning. But most of them will come back at 3 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So they swim in the water when the temperature is high. And they don't want to stay in the water for a long time. They just spend 1 to 2 hours in the water. As far as we can observe, 2 hours is the upper limit. They will swim for a little bit and after 1 to 2 hours they will come back to the nest. Sometimes if they swim to a further place from the nest, they will lie on their mother's back. And it can also keep them warm. For the animals, temperature is very important, or rather their life will be threatened. And the baby swans haven't taken enough food. They are weak, so the environmental temperature is very critical. One netizen is asking, you said the eggs may not be all hatched, but now 7 of them are hatched. And how about the last one? Will the smallest bird be hatched? No one knows. For us human beings, we are observing. We don't do an analysis on this final egg. We didn't prepare for that. Just now we saw the other babies are in the nest and they are proactive. Will this movement affect the last egg? No. If their movement affects the egg and broke the shell, that baby swan may stop development and die. Usually within 2 days or the eggs will be hatched. And after 2 days, the egg won't be hatched. But the mother swan predict whether the egg will be hatched or not. Will she wait for the last baby to born? We human beings don't know. We cannot understand this kind of question. But she can strike a balance. 7 out of the 8 eggs are hatched. And there are 7 babies. For her, there is only 1 left. So which side is more important, she knows. These 7 small babies need to be trained and to be protected, or rather they will die. Will the mother swan feed them? No. The mother will take them and search for food and teach them where and how to find the food. This is the living school. I'm curious, where is the father swan? Will he stay with them? Yes, they will stay together. The family, 2 adults and several young swans will stay together and search for food. The parents will train the small swans many life skills. It's just like us human beings. We feel warm. Yeah. At earlier time, the family education is very important. When we observe the birds or other animals, we found they are the same like human beings. The education is of lifetime importance to these animals. Just like mute swan, this skill will follow their whole life. They follow their parents and they search for food. Food is the top priority to animals. And they take care of each other. They get on well with each other. These are all led by the parents. Dear viewers, Professor B is a professional in breeding of the birds. So if you have any questions, you can ask him. Yesterday afternoon, the first baby swan was born, and now let's watch the replay. This video was taken in the morning. Professor B, why the small swans are moving a lot? They cannot stand, but they are learning, they are practicing. This capability is natural, but it takes time for them to learn to stand and to take exercise. With the protection of their mother, they will start to learn. But now the mother swan doesn't allow them to run. The mother swan is taking care of the baby swans, and she's also making the nests more comfortable. Sometimes if the baby swan runs, it may fall into the water, so the mother swan is closely taking care of them. Let's now watch the birth of the first baby swan. This is the real-time broadcasting. The cub is patrolling around. Because our viewers said he wants to watch the birth of the first baby swan, and now we are watching the replay. This was taken yesterday afternoon. We see the mother swan is rotating the eggs more and more frequently because they are going to born. The hatching period lasts for 30 to 35 days. So after 30 days, the frequency of rotating will be higher. We see that's the first baby swan. We see it has a gray feather, and he cannot move flexibly. He's still weak. He's very soft. Another viewer asked that once the mute swan is born, how long will it take for them to become an adult swan? How do you define adult swan? You mean it can fly or others? After mute swan broke the shell of the eggs, it takes about 100 days for them to fledge. And it takes just 10 days for them to learn to fly. Before sexual maturity and breeding, it will be the third year after their birth. But before they are sexually matured, they will follow their family, follow their parents. And next year, when the swans are flying back, they will start to mate or to breed because they will become sexually matured. Some viewers asked this question. And dear viewers, you are now watching the live broadcasting on CGTN and Sina Weibo. And we are now live broadcasting on the mute swans. Today, the topic is breeding. Actually, today is the 4th day of the live streaming. And we are here to continue observing the breeding and hatching of the mute swans. And in the future days, there will be more stories. If you have any questions, you can raise the questions on the internet, and our Professor B will answer your questions. When will the baby swan leave their parents? The baby swans just born will follow their parents and migrate to the south. And in the next year, they will fly back. And many of them will leave their parents. So mute swans also have families, yet their unit is family. They migrate to the south in families. Each family is a small group, so there are several groups, and they will migrate to the south together. And in next spring, they will come back. The adults in these families, once they start to breed, they will leave this family. I have another question. In this section of water, there are many swans. They all migrate from the south. Are some of them actually within the same family group? Probably. The birds, especially the mute swans, they migrate to Wuliangsu Lake together, and they will come back next year. But I think many of them may have the same blood system. Okay. Sometimes these mute swans also have a matrix. Because this is so shocked. We heard that they are monogamous, but why they have matrix? Yes, this is the normal principle. but because there are many baby swans, but some of the baby swans may not have the same parents. So we found they have matrix sometimes. This is to adapt to the nature, to prevent from the near blood generation. Genetic issue is so complex, but this is the nature of the animals. This is the natural choices. I think this is quite interesting. So if our viewers have more questions, you can keep raising the questions. Thank you, Professor B. Take a rest, please. During the past 2 days, we've taken many interesting videos. Just behind us, from the 200 meters distance, you can see the cob is moving, and the mother swan is taking care of the eggs. This is the live broadcasting. Beside the mother is a swan baby. Today is windy, so our cameras may be shaking. This video was taken in the morning. We can see there are many baby swans. Some viewers want to watch more of the baby swans. This records us of the fairy tale. These cute swans are active. They are flapping the wings. But we see the mother swan use her wings to prevent the small swans from going out. They are really naughty. But you see, the mother swan wants to embrace them and keep them. Because after a whole day's adapting to the nature, these baby swans become more naughty and active this morning. As we are in the nature, we can see it's really windy. This baby swan is trying to climb up the mother's back. This must be the big brother. And the mother swan again tries to keep it within the arm. Dear viewers, you are now watching the live broadcasting on CGTN and Sina Weibo. We are now in the Urad Front Banner and doing the live streaming for you on the mute swans. If you have any questions, you can join us and raise the questions on the internet. We have the professor and experts to answer your questions. We've installed cameras there. In this nest, there were 8 eggs, and 7 of them were hatched. And from that direction, there were 5 eggs. But now they are not hatched. These 2 nests are neighbors. So you can follow us and wait for these babies' birth. And you can watch the real-time birth and breeding of mute swans on our live broadcasting. If you are sleepless in the night, you can watch the whole video. Just now, director told us one viewer is asking about the names of these baby swans, how to differentiate these baby swans, and how the mother swan can differentiate these babies. I named one of them, Bao Yin named one of them, but for other baby swans, our netizens can think about it and make the names for them. We don't know the gender of these babies. The first question is how the mother can differentiate these babies, like which one is younger, which one is elder, and about the gender. From the shape, it is difficult to identify the difference. We need to look at the cavity of the babies to see whether it's female or male. But whether the parents can differentiate these baby swans, I think we can only guess about this question. Maybe they have special relations or special voice that, and this relation will be closer after their birth, so the mother swan can identify which baby is elder, which is younger. We can only have a guess. How do we have the technology to mark these babies and differentiate them? There are many ways. In the past, we put a foot ring on the baby swans. Some are plastic, some are ionic. And on the ring, there are different marks and colorful labels to identify them. And now we have the wireless tracking technology or satellite tracking. So we can put the tracker or tracking device on them and follow them in terms of the height and the place. Some of the devices can also test the ambient temperature and the environment. So the technology now is matured, because now we have a domestically made satellite, so we can make the tracking easier. We see there are many other kinds of birds also breeding here. So in this area, comparing to other birds, are these baby swans born early or late? Mute swans are large birds, so they have longer breeding cycle, and they are migratory birds. In autumn, before the winter, they will fly to the south. But it takes long for the baby swans to develop, to grow up, so they will give birth to these babies earlier than other birds. Some of the small birds can develop quicker than others, but they are still born still earlier than other birds. Another question: how do the baby swans recognize their mother? So, Professor B, please explain to us. After the baby swans broke the shells, the first object they look at is their mother. Actually, the mother is just a moving object to them. We did experiments. we put some birds' ovum eggs under the manual machine after they are hatched. And we use a moving toy. And these small birds will follow the moving toy for a period. If the first time they open their eyes and they see the moving toy, and even if after that you take a duck or swan in front of them, they won't follow that duck or swan, because they only recognize the moving object the first time they open their eyes. How about the feathers? That's similar. They follow the first moving objects when they see. And sometimes they recognize their parents by voice. Like there are 2 broods of mute swans here. After the birth of the baby swans, they will follow their parents. And how do they differentiate their parents? That's by voice. We've did consecutive live broadcasting from breeding and hatching of these baby swans. And now the baby swans, 7 of them are born. And how long will it take before them to swim in the water? According to our previous observation and experience, 2 days after their birth, they will swim. They must swim. They won't stay in the nest. Will it be affected by the weather? Yes. But that's within 2 days. Or rather, they will be hungry to death. But they will just swim for a shorter period. And how about the range of the space of their moving? It will be limited. You can see this nest is higher than the water level, and these babies are so small. How will they climb up this nest? Don't need to worry about that. Once it can get out of the nest, it can climb down. It can also climb up. So the babies can leave and come back. Yes, they have this capability. It takes 2 days. Thank you, Professor B. After this professional introduction from Professor B, we've got more knowledge on mute swans, and our viewers can continue raising questions, because we are now live broadcasting in Wuliangsu Lake, and we have 2 cameras. One camera is just behind us. This brood of mute swans have 8 eggs. 7 of them were hatched, and we are waiting for the 8th one. And the other brood of swans is also under monitoring, but the 5 eggs are not hatched yet. We are anxious. Some viewers asking about whether the cameras will affect the breeding or the life of the swans. No, don't need to worry about that. We installed these monitoring cameras when they went out for food, and we did this meticulously, because during the hatching, if the hand touches the nest or the egg, the mother will sense the smell, and this will affect the hatching. But we did it meticulously. And after the birth of the baby swans, we can approach them more, but they still want to keep a distance from the human. So we still stay far from them in order to not disturb them. We are waiting for them to grow up. And during the past 2 days, we've taken many interesting videos, and now you can watch the replay. The mute swan just come back from foraging. People say mute swan loves beauty. And so she is shaking the water out from the body, because the water will take the temperature away, so this will affect the eggs. Every time the mother swan fly back to the nest, it will take 3 to 5 minutes for her to shake all the water out from the body, and then she will restart to hatch the eggs again. During hatching, the mute swans are also very meticulous and careful. You went to install the cameras. They were not back. After the installation, they fly back. Mute swans have a warning distance with the human beings. When they think it's not safe, they will leave. But if the distance is not too short, they will continue hatching. Sometimes they may shout and show some protective actions. And this is another replay. It's like a human being to lock the room before they fly out. It was in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock. She is going to forage. And we see she's collecting the reeds in order to hide the eggs. During the hatching period, the mute swan will leave the nest twice a day, because only the female swan is hatching the eggs. If she doesn't leave the nest 24 hours, she has no food. So she has to leave the nest for twice a day, like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, to search for food. And before she leaves the nest, she will hide the eggs into the reeds, because the eggs cannot be exposed to the sunshine, or rather they will be ruined. It also helps keep warm. But the reeds are not good at protecting, are not good for protecting the temperature. So once the mother leaves the nest, the eggs' temperature will be lower. Another question. 2 reporters and 1 professor are wearing the same hat. Is it typical in local area? We did live broadcasting here because it was too sunny, so we wear this hat. And there are many mosquitoes. So this hat is for preventing from the sunshine and mosquitoes. So many of the people here and the swan maybe are getting to know us. So, dear viewers, you are now watching the live broadcasting on CGTN and Sina Weibo. We are now at Urad Front Banner, Wuliangsu Lake in Inner Mongolia. That's the end of today's live streaming, and we will have more live broadcasting on mute swans. Hope you can join us next time.